Do you have the winning mindset? Do you know what it takes to go to the next level? Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime? Join us every week for the Winning Mindset Podcast.
Hey, great. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. It is another great day with the winning mindset. I'm telling you today we have another great author in the midst, Mr. Kenneth. I say Mr. Kenneth Wilson. He is one of the great authors in the Winning Mindset book. He's written many other great books. I'm ready to jump right in. I'm co-host Monica Nisi Earl Washington with Miss Kristen Davis. I'm gonna turn it on over so we can get ready to hear from Mr. Kenneth Wilson. How you doing today, Mr. Wilson?
I'm doing all right. How y'all doing? I don't know if I can follow up that intro, but all right, I'm gonna try.
Doing good and excited. I know you're about to drop some gems on us here.
I'm gonna try.
And so we'll just jump right into it. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about your background and some of the things you've accomplished?
All right. It's always the hard part, right? I hate talking about myself too. Again, my name is Kenneth Wilson. I'm, native of the DMV, Silver Spring, Maryland. This is home for me. Always has been. What I like to describe is that I say that I'm about helping people. That's what it's about, So the things I do, my passions and things like that, revolve around helping people. So currently, I'm the founder and operator of an organization called Men of Stature, and we provide services, support groups, and things like that for primarily Black men of all ages. So, like I said, safe spaces, support groups, youth programs. We focus on our program called Black Men Read, which we really try to emphasize and highlight literacy in the Black community. And we do a lot of mentoring and reading groups and stuff like that with schools and young people and students. Things like the Gentleman's Lounge, which is a virtual support group for Black men. So it's just giving back, fellowship, and how can we connect and be positive, just role models and images in our families and communities and stuff like that. So that's one of the things. I try to write a book or two every now and then. So, of course, The Winning Mindset was one of those. Even other books, Black Men Love, which is out there now, bestseller. I'm actually working on Black Women Love, which is due to be out Valentine's Day next year. So and other books, Impact of Influence, Suited for Success, and some other ones that'll be out next year too. So I do a lot of stuff like that. In the past, I've done a lot of work in the community. For that, I received actually Lifetime Achievement Award from President Obama back in 2016. I think that was, yeah. And so background in mentoring programs, writing curriculum for mentoring programs, and the service in just community, especially here at DMV, Baltimore area, things like that. So I don't want to go on too long. I think that was long enough. So yeah.
That was, but wow, you're living up to that intro already. Not to worry. You do a lot, and we appreciate hearing about all of this because you don't hear about what's being done a lot of times when we hear people talking about our youth and what they're doing or what they're not doing. So it's nice to hear someone say, well, this is what I'm doing to help with this issue. So
yeah. Sometimes we gotta let people know what's going on. I try to let the work speak for itself, so that it's not like me. No, let what we're doing get out there, spread the word on those initiatives. So, I've always liked to kind of play the background on things, Yeah. So, yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So speaking of your background in home, what are some obstacles that have happened in your life? Were there any obstacles, and how did they help you to become who you are?
I think we live on obstacles, right? I'm a journey guy anyway. I've always appreciated the journey. But I grew up like most other folks in our community. I grew up in one of those rough households, and I saw a lot of negative things from abuse, drug use, and things like that. And just, for me, I'm a firm believer in God. And I think it was just that I learned what not to do. And that's how I kind of phrase it. I saw, fortunately in the DMV here, especially in Silver Spring where I live, it's a lot of diversity, right? And so I was able to see the other side of the fence. People say the other side of the tracks and stuff like that. And so I was able to take a glimpse of, no, it could be a different way. And I chose the different way. So I learned what not to do. And I said I could take those lessons as well. And now how can I give back? So those challenges were always there. Even challenges, sometimes even feeling different, like I valued my education and wanting to be smart, wanting to learn and grow. But when you grow up in an environment where that's not always promoted, sometimes it was frowned upon, And so things like that, that's also another obstacle. So I was, even though I was popular and all those things, even as a kid, but it was like, I never quite fit in certain places and spaces, and even as you get older, there's, like I said, I can talk about challenges and obstacles all day, even being an entrepreneur in business and sometimes in the traditional things that you come along, not just like the business side, but also too, like the challenges of receiving support and also having to make money and working yourself out of one job to make your dreams come true and stuff like that. And so there's always obstacles there as well too. And I think they're ongoing, getting people to understand your visions and things like that. And even trying to work with people who may not quite understand exactly what you want to do, but you got to find ways to get those people on board as well. So, like I said, there's multitude of those things around. I think for me, it's just, I try not to dwell on those things. I'm always trying to push forward and how can I use those experiences to learn the lessons from them to like, now it's going to keep going. Because I'm a firm believer, a lot of time it comes back anyway. Some of those lessons and stuff, some of those situations, you end up back in those situations again. So it's like, I know how to deal with them. It's experience, So I keep my mind focused on that side of it, the lessons, the experience, the growth part. So I even take value in sometimes negative situations. And I know that sounds crazy sometimes, but no, like I'll look back, come out of a situation and say, no, that was necessary, or I might have needed to go through that, to grow from it.
That's big because when you're in the middle of it, it's really hard to think, well, what am I supposed to be getting out of this? But you're right. I agree. But it's still hard.
It is. Yeah, it is. It is. I think, it helps me with stress, so I don't stress about too much. And also too, when you grow up in, like I said, I grew up in a pretty rough household, and so I take that and I say, it ain't get too much worse than that. Like, so even as a young man, where you don't have to put, I think about like money struggles and stuff. When you're younger, you ain't got no money, you struggling. To me, it was like, okay, good. I've seen worse, and so I always take that, and it's like, what's the worst that's gonna happen? What worse can you do to me at this point? So those things have helped me like stay even, stay calm. Like I said, I don't live with a whole lot of stress, even sometimes when it seems chaotic. Like I always know there's a way out of it. It's going to work through, be patient and stuff like that. And it keeps me grounded.
Wow, that's huge. And people take their whole life to kind of learn that. So I hope y'all are hearing that.
Yeah, I think, like I said, if people listening, just realize, sometimes like it's going to be okay. Yeah. Sometimes it seems hard. Sometimes it seems rough. But there are moments, and life is about the ups and downs. Like I keep saying, the journeys too. And so if it's part of this journey, know that you're going to come out of this as well too. Like sometimes the lows, they can get low, but also know they go up. And so as long as you stay focused, as long as you stay working hard, you have your goals, you know where you're going with it, you're going to come out of it. You're going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
I love that. I think you kind of already started to touch on it, but let me ask, what is the winning mindset to you? Kind of going back to our project.
Yeah. So what I'll give you a little snippet, what I wrote about. But it's really about three things, For me, it's the dream part, and I say I'm a dreamer. People use the word visionary and stuff like that. I kind of like the word dreamer, because that's what it kind of symbolizes to me when you sit around and actually think about what you want to do and what you vision. We all have those visions like, when I grow up, I want to do this. Even as a grown man, when I'm an older man, I want to do this, so we dream, and that's where it always starts. Like we have these ideas. And then for me, the next part is, well, you got to kind of act on that, And so I used the word dare. And to me, I like that word. Is very intentional, because to dare, it's almost like I have to like force myself, or sometimes it's like I have to almost like kind of trick yourself or motivate yourself. So, when you say dare to someone, it's almost like you're almost like, I'm like picking at them to do it. So it's like, I dare myself. No, like I have this idea. No, I'm gonna do it, And sometimes it is a mindset, and that's goes back to winning mindset, but it's a mindset that we have to have, that we can achieve this, and that's where I think there's a separation for a lot of people, where it's like they want to do it, but that first step, sometimes you have to dare yourself to take that step to get into it. Dare yourself to take the next step and keep going. So that's where it's like the action into it. I dare myself to actually chasing my dreams and my goals. And then the third thing is you got to have the discipline to do it, and that's another thing too, where it's hard, because like, yes, you have a mindset, but now you also have to focus what you're doing, and that takes a lot out of an individual, and there's a lot that goes into whatever discipline that is for us. For me, it's things like time in management, time and stuff. I do a lot of different things. So how do I manage my time? How do I manage my work-life balance and all those things? I do have a family. You probably hear them. I got 3 girls upstairs. And their thing is gymnastics time. So, like those things. So it's like I have to have the discipline to be able to go after what I'm doing as well. So to me, it's that process. Again, we visualize it, we see it, we dream it. Now I have to take the action steps to do it. But now I also have the discipline to keep it going. And so that those things make up what that mindset is, at least for me. So when we talk about like a winning mindset, there's an actual track to it that each of us have, and it may be slightly different for all of us, right? But we tweak it, we figure out what works for us, but you have to develop the mentality, the mindset to be able to go forward. And to me, that goes with almost anything in life. That's not just a business or entrepreneur thing. That's a family thing. That's a personal self thing. Like there's so many different assets of life that we need this mindset to be able to achieve it.
Absolutely. I see 3Ds. So
yeah, that's what it is.
And the discipline, man, oh man, that's we needed that, because in this current climate, I guess is the best way I can say it. You got a lot of influencers on social media, a lot of people that are doing non-traditional work, and the perception is that it doesn't require discipline, but that's not true. Even those influencers, if they're really doing that as a job, they've got a schedule. It takes hours to shoot content. Everything you're going to do, even if it's seen as easy, is going to require some discipline.
And I think even what you said there, like, I think to me, discipline makes it seem easy, and because they're very disciplined, they're diligent. Like you said, even the ones who are doing it correctly on social media, there's a perception, there's all the images, stuff like that too. But I tell y'all, look, even keeping up them images takes discipline, even faking it, because you gotta post and you gotta create, you got illusions. That takes discipline to even fake it too. So it does. So I think sometimes we see people that we do deem as successful, and like you said, they make it look easy, and that's what gives people motivation to say, hey, I can do it too. But forget, there's 2 sides to that. We see it, but also go back and see what they have to do to make it happen. That's what it comes down to. So yeah, it is. I'm telling you, discipline is one of the hardest things. I used to be a consultant. I used to help people who wanted to start businesses and take them through the process. And for me, it was the discipline part. It was the personal part that was the biggest challenge for most, especially young entrepreneurs, beginning entrepreneurs. They had the vision, they knew where they wanted to go, but if their life and what they were doing didn't translate to their goals, it would all fall apart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of the mindset you need to have, your 3Ds, talk to us about a time or a circumstance where you had to apply the winning mindset, like in real time.
Pick a day. So I think when I originally started, my entrepreneur journey, I think that's where it was like, it kind of hit me, and I was probably my mid-20s at this point. And we came together and going through the process, starting like was like our first like kind of like mentoring athletic training organization, I guess, nonprofit. But it was really the dream and achieve and figuring what that was. And I remember the dream part was like where we started was not where we ended. Because we had to learn. Sometimes the stuff is pie in the sky and it's very out there. And we're like, no, we got to focus this a little bit. So we had to tweak that dream. And, and then, like you said, even just getting out there, one thing I found it was so hard was that to even do it, there wasn't much resource to it. Like we didn't have resources available to us, especially being Black men trying to, who to talk to. Was there somebody out there that we can get information from? And so we had to really go out there and do it ourselves and figure it out, and that was hard because that took the drive. That took literally daring ourselves, like, oh no, I got to go get this today. I got to go do this today. Like, and that was a lot because we were just out there trying to figure it out, taking our L's, trial and error, all of that. And then, like I said, even along with that too, like the discipline to like navigate that, and that's where I really learned, even for myself, like what it took for me to become an entrepreneur. And I realized certain things about myself that I said I really have to improve on. I have to hone in on, like even now, like I'm going through a transition myself. And that was hard to come to say, hey, there's some things I really love doing, but now I got to let it go, because I need time. Like there's things going on this side of my life that are really important. Or like, even like I said, my daughter, sometimes I have to be very intentional about time I spend with them. I want time. For example, I love dropping them off in the mornings at school. And so for me, some things got to go or some things have to get moved because that's going to be my priority in the morning. Nothing else happens until they get to school pretty much, because that's my morning time with them. That's so important, and that takes a lot of discipline, to say sometimes a bag is sitting right there, sometimes an opportunity is sitting right there. But you know what? No, I have to say no. I have to have discipline to say no. This is priority. This is what's more important to me too, And so I think at one point, even if it's not all three, one of those 3 Ds is applied every single day in my life, every single day, and it helps me. So that's why I say sometimes it's not even a linear track. It's just what is needed at that moment that I have to do, that I have to apply it.
You're going to just use, you're going to use at least one of these, but
at least. Yeah, at least.
I love that. And you said something there because sometimes there is other stuff. So what if I know we're podcasting today, but I get an invite, hey, why don't you, we're going to go here and there's all these things here. And you're like, no. You have your commitment and what you decided to do. So we definitely get that because we really tried to be intentional about taking this time out to work on this as well. So I definitely feel you on that. I think a lot of people need to know that too, that sometimes you are going to have to give up.
Yeah.
You just are. There's no way around it.
Yeah, especially in entrepreneurship. I know like I had to, like I said, it's like you create, right? So I kind of look at like creations that you come up with, and it was hard, it's hard to say sometimes, like, okay, even though I created it as my baby, I love it, but it's time to let it go, and to me, again, that's part of that journey, that life journey, especially, when you like to do different things. And that's a big thing for me. I like trying stuff, even in my life. I've done all kinds of different things, like not even just the fact of chasing money, just because I want the experience too. And so it's like, if I'm going to be on this earth, however long I'm going to be here, I want to maximize it. And sometimes that means that, okay, I've had my time with this over here. It was great. But now it's time to let it go just because there's something else, And so I do a lot of that too, So to me, it keeps life interesting, keeps it fresh. And like I said, sometimes with discipline, I understand that it's not so bad to let things go.
That's beneficial for me because that personally is something I have a hard time with. If I really love doing something, even if it's no longer serving me, it is difficult to say, okay, I'm going to just get rid of this. But how do you kind of talk yourself through that, letting something go that you really do like doing?
It is a process too. And like, I'll be honest and say it's hard. I've cried, I ain't scared to say it. Like, even one of the podcasts I had to let go recently because I had a whole media company, and it came a point in time where it's like, you know what, I need to focus more time with Men of Stature. I feel like it's affecting more people. I feel like we're doing a lot of service over here. And no, I love this. I created this. I was doing the media company for 5-6 years. It was time, but to do that and say that, and I had to have some difficult conversations with some folks about it too. And it was hard, but for me, it was, there's a greater purpose in other places in my life, and so if I'm going on purpose, if I'm going on need, if I'm going on what's going to help people, then I have to be honest with myself too and say, no, this is more important over here, and that's what helps me. Because if not, we're human, we'll hold on to something forever if we can't, and so I said, no, like the purpose is what kind of helps me make those decisions too. Like I say, even family, some of my time I can take back some of this time too. So now I can take that time and put it back and spending more time with the fam, even my personal time, because I need that too. Pandemic was a little good to me. I got to start spending more time in the gym. So I need a couple extra hours, so it was like, no, these are more important in my life in this season right now. So after laying that out and I looked at all the information in front of me, I said, you know what? It wasn't a hard decision at all. This is what needs to be done. So, yeah.
Good approach. So it's kind of taking everything, looking at it objectively and saying, what's the most important thing right now?
Yeah.
That's helpful. Thank you for that.
No problem.
Like I said, we all have done that. Just say, oh no, I love this thing. And now it's like, why are you really doing this? Is it helping anything?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not.
Yeah, sometimes we're habitual, creatures of habit and things like that. Familiarity, comfort, those things make it real easy for us to kind of just sit in a space or sit with something, keep something. Right. And next thing you know, we hoarding it, like
I love that.
Because we always think of things like hoarding, like physical things. No, sometimes we hoard emotions. Sometimes we hoard, how we feel, connections and relationships, and we tend to kind of keep it there. So, I think it's healthy. I think sometimes we got to like purge and let things go and reevaluate our situations. I think we should constantly be doing that. And so that's the thing I do every about fall time. We get to about third quarter, and I go away for a couple of days. I always find a way to go away by myself, and I kind of do my own little personal retreat. Mm-hmm. So this year I was out in like the mountains of Virginia somewhere, and I had to be out there. But I was like, I'm gonna stay an extra day just to kind of figure it out, And so I kind of go through this mindset, and I'm kind of just like, where am I at? What's going on? Because I'm going into next year, what needs to be done. So I kind of do this whole like self-evaluation thing. And to be honest, it wasn't even something I was intentional about. It just started happening. I don't know when this started. I started doing this, like I said, maybe it's the seasons changing. Mm-hmm. And now it's become this thing I kind of do every year now. I don't know when it started though. Couldn't tell you, but it was just like, okay, here we are. So I kind of do this thing. And so like now going into the next year, I've kind of retooled my own like personal little strategic plan where I'm going. I have a conversation with my wife. We kind of do this thing too. Like, I don't know if she'd be listening to me, but I'd be trying, because sometimes she's like, you do too much. She's already like, you do too much. So, but I do that. I do, and now it's become like a whole little exercise. And to me, it's so healthy. It does. It means the world to me now.
It is. It's, studies show that we do need interaction with other humans, but it also shows that we do need to not have human interaction sometimes. So there's a balance there. So yeah, it sounds like you were just kind of listening to yourself. I think there's something in everyone's kind of subconscious that's telling them in their ear, okay, maybe you need to stop. This is a wall. You're about to hit a wall. Just pull back and take a moment. But a lot of people don't listen. But it sounds like you kind of listen to that and incorporated it into your routine.
I think you have to listen to yourself at some point. Your body will tell you.
Yes.
Your body will start to tell you real fast. Like I say, you start feeling stress and things like that. Even not just the physical stuff. Like sometimes the aches and pains and stuff. Your body will start to tell you. Yeah. So I have to. One, I'm a big guy, so I'm always trying to be in tune with my body. How am I losing weight, my weight loss journey, being healthy, things like that. And I think, the mental health aspect of that also too, but just, you know, you have to listen to yourself. Sometimes those gut feelings, those little thoughts that keep coming in your head, they're coming from somewhere, you know? So it's like, sometimes even if it sounds crazy, I take the time, okay, like, what is that? You know, like, why am I feeling this way? What's going on here? You know, sometimes we got to take that pause.
Absolutely. You got to check in with yourself. I tell people that all the time in my therapeutic setting, you know, have you checked in with you? You talk to other people. Have you asked yourself, because people are scared to talk to themselves, but have you said, how am I feeling? Honestly, right?
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like.
Yeah. I talk to myself. I don't care. Like,
Yeah, me too.
because of what I do, I spend a good amount of time by myself, right? Even if it's driving or something. I get a lot of good thoughts in driving. The shower, I'll be self-evaluating in the shower. Like, but
That's
you know,
yeah.
I tell you, and it's something about the water and all those things, but it's like, I take advantage of those, you know? And I think sometimes we overlook it. Like I said, it may not be a whole like retreat thing and you got to go somewhere, but those little moments that our bodies and our lives give us throughout the day, take advantage of them, you know? Yeah.
Important. Super important. So, Miss Nisi, I saw you agreeing vehemently. I saw you shaking your head. So did you have anything, you know, that stuck out that you wanted to kind of double down on or ask?
Everything with this podcast today was just so amazing, powerful. And so one of the things that I'm going to take, so I'm not going to say ask a question, what I'm going to take is the discipline, because you have to have that to move in life.
Yeah.
No discipline will lead you into some of the most dangerous areas in your lifetime journey, and you have to have discipline. And I listened to everything you said, so I just wanted to let you know I'm pulling so much, you know, that you spoke about today. But I'm gonna go back and reevaluate myself on a long drive or in the shower, so I can come out fresh and renewed. And I'm gonna restructure some things for discipline. That's all I wanted to say, because that was powerful. It's very powerful that one must be disciplined if they're gonna try to live in this world and do this life journey walk.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought another one too. It's not something I write about, but it's one of my personal philosophies. It's just having fun. I also believe that we have to have balance in this world too. I love to laugh. I love to have fun. I never try to take myself too serious, you know, like, and I think that's also important to the balance that we have to have in life. And that's one of the things I'm especially seeing in this world where like, it's hard out here. Be honest, you know, it's a lot going on. It's crazy times. And we have to find ways to keep the balance in our lives, you know? And so whatever that means for everyone, but, you know, be intentional with that too. You know, like, I think it's okay to be intentional and to have fun, and as long as it's healthy, you know, like the little things, the little joys in our lives that we need, you know? And sometimes, you know, I see everyone does their thing. I'm not even a big vacation person. You know, I've never been big, take trips. I got to go over here and do that and all. That's not me. The little moments, you know, I'll go watch a movie by myself and be totally okay. I can watch something and laugh. I got humor in all kinds of things. I know sometimes I can't share it, but I find joy in stuff, you know, like I find humor in a lot of things. My children, my daughters, just being with them, things like that, you know, whatever that means, but find the joy in your life too. Oh my goodness. You know, like how we interact with each other. Sometimes I just find a smile, a hello, you know, and you'd be surprised what it does to some people, you know, just those little things for each other. I'm a believer in people too, you know, like we can be nice to each other. We can love each other, you know, all those things. Like we need to do those things for ourselves. And I think if we start with ourselves, I think it will trickle down to everyone else too.
Yeah, absolutely. You're a light when you're doing that.
Yeah.
I think some people actually call it light work, pouring into other people, but that's important. And like you said, if you start with you, it just flows out. And we say this all the time. you do have to pour into yourself and pour and pour and pour, because that way people are getting your overflow. And you're not just pouring into them with nothing for you. So the more you pour into yourself, other people are going to catch that overflow. So you're also, by improving yourself, improving your surroundings.
Yeah, we have to, so I think, like I said, I think be intentional. I think that's my words.
Intentional. Right.
Yeah.
So you spoke a little bit earlier about some things that you are working on. You said Black Women Love coming out Valentine's Day, right? But are there other things you're working on? Tell us about some of your projects.
Well, yeah, outside of Men of Stature, because that's been a big thing. And moving towards the focus there. I still do podcasting. So my podcast has been around. We actually just going through a rebrand actually this week. So now we're starting what's called the Positive Isn't Popular podcast. And what that is just really having difficult conversations concerning the Black community. The whole goal is to really just, how do we educate and inspire some of the topics that we don't get a chance to really speak on. Sometimes they're uncomfortable. Sometimes we got to talk about those things, And so we've been doing that for a while. It used to be called the Community Coalition Show. But after 4 years of that, the show has kind of changed and evolved and stuff. So I'm really excited about this rebrand. And y'all can check that out. That'll be out Tuesdays. Our website, you can go to positiveisn'tpopular.com, or if you're like Spotify and all those places, the streaming platforms, you'll be able to find it there too. But that's one of the things we're doing. I also do a show on Instagram Monday nights called the Speakeasy Show. And shout out to my boy Ryan Dunstan. We do that together on the platform Candy Coated Secrets. So is this on IG Live with 9:00 p.m. and we spend about a good hour just talking about a lot of men's topics, kind of unpacking some things, explaining some things about men and how we think and how we feel, but also trying to promote the positivity again with Black men, sharing some of that stuff too, because I know everyone sees this, even when it comes to relationships and dating and marriage and stuff, there's a lot of craziness out there too. There's also a lot of false information out there. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. So it's like, how do we push forward the positive information, the correct information, but also too, they have to see positive Black men as out here as well too. And so that show does a lot of that as well. So those are the other things going on. And then for me, it's really, like I said, it's just getting back with Black men, the stuff we're doing with Men of Stature. Like I said, we got the youth programs doing a lot in Baltimore City right now, in terms of like Black men reading. Like I said, it's promoting literacy and trying to find non-traditional ways of promoting literacy with our young people. Because sometimes you say that word and they always think it's just like meaning reading books. And so I do a lot of different activities, from song lyrics to sports stuff, and tying in the importance of reading and understanding what you're reading and why you're doing some of these things. So that's what Black Men Read is all about. We even do a week, I think that second week of February, we do Black Men Read Week. And we bring in a lot of Black men and we do reading groups all over in schools and stuff like that. So not only do they get a chance to understand it, but they get a chance to see us promoting it as well too, which I think is also very important. So it's just promoting literacy to our young people. That whole week, we dedicate a week to it, And then, like I said, just trying to get to brothers. I know we're working on some things at some of the local universities and trying to get some of the safe spaces and supports groups directly to the HBCUs in the area too. So we do, like I said, we do a group called the Gentleman's Lounge, and it's just a safe space for brothers. What we discuss here, that's what it is. And we get an opportunity to really just be able to pour in and tap into, me being, I guess I'm considered older now. I'll be 40 in March and they talking about I'm old.
No, absolutely. I refuse. No, nobody, none of us. We're not old. We just know stuff.
I like that. But what I will say is, that's experience that I can pour into another young brother. Mm-hmm. And I think about often when I was 20, 21, 22, man, if I had some men that could be able to just talk to me at that point, like I said, I feel like some of my friends, we spent so much just trial and error, figuring it out on the fly in real time, And so if we could be able to at least try to give them a little something, some little knowledge, information, and just some encouragement, that's what the lounge is all about. So I'm excited for those things that are coming up, and just dedicating some of my time and resources in doing those things.
I love that. And again, thank you for all that you do. We need people doing this work. Can you tell us, you already mentioned a website, but can you tell us all your social media handles and where we can find all this great stuff?
Yeah, I try to keep it simple. So my website, you can probably start, you can find everything there. It's my name is KennethRWilson.com. So all the links to everything, you could probably start there, info, reaching out and stuff like that. If you're looking for info on Men of Stature, that's menofstature.org. All out together, you'll be able to find that there too. And then all my social media handles are the same. It's at Mr. Kenneth Wilson. So that's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. I try to be accessible and easy to find. So I'm pretty sure for one of those avenues, if you wanted to reach, you can get me one of those.
Got you. You got any final thoughts for us? Anything you want us to keep in mind, or your main thing that you want to share with us or leave with us?
For me, it's always just like I said, people, helping people, working together, especially as a Black man, Black community, especially nowadays. I feel like it's so important that we find ways to work together and genuine connections. We got to get out of this rut of, we're all looking at each other sideways, and it's hard. And that's why I say, if it's sometimes you got to tip your toe out there. Sometimes you got to trust a little bit. Sometimes you got to take a chance, be safe about it and things like that. But we have to find ways to work together. We do, especially for our young people. Then we have to show examples for the next generations coming up, which is, I think that's so underrated. We don't talk about that. They're looking to us for guidance. And if we don't give it to them, they're going to try to figure out on their own, and they'll tell them what that looks like for them. So, just love, continue to do that, pour out, that's what it is for me.
Love that. And again, we just appreciate you stopping by and dropping all these awesome gems for us, because I wrote a bunch of stuff down myself, and I'm gonna do some of this on my own. Miss Nisi, would you like to take us out?
All right. Well, we're getting ready to close this great Winning Mindset podcast out. We want to thank our wonderful, wonderful guest, Mr. Kenneth Wilson. You know where to locate him. You know where to find him. And again, we want to thank Mr. Kenneth Wilson for joining us on the Winning Mindcast. Winning Mindset podcast. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I thank you both so much. This was fun, even though, sometimes talking about yourself is hard, but, we got to get this information out, like you said. I appreciate you all.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, this is awesome. Awesome.